So Armageddon's still not completely averted. You're still busy saving the entire universe instead of introducing the podcast. I don't understand your priorities, but I guess I respect them. Okay, Danny, I'll cover the intro.
The button is the button is pushed. We are recording. Hooray!
John, we're going to play our favorite game. One
Uh-oh.
of
What do
these
we got?
people has some ethnicity in common with me. They're part Hill Greek. The other one of these people spent some time with no eyebrows.
Hmm.
Which one do
I
you
don't
think which?
know. I don't know. I'm going to risk the guess that Matt is the guy with no eyebrows, although the ruggedly handsome thing could be covering for that. So I'm not really sure, although Pamela being Greek ancestry kind of fits. So I think I'm gonna go with that for 500, Alec.
There you go. So, guys, how far off the mark is he? Is he all right?
He's right. He's right.
But yes, my, my eyebrows are back.
Very cool.
We need to hear that story, though.
Oh, do you want to hear it now?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So a long time ago, when I was 14, I grew up on a large farm in sort of a remote area of Australia, and one of my weekly chores, was to burn the household garbage. Um, which is not a great thing to ask a 14-year-old to do, to play with fire every week, I don't think. Anyway, so I used to play with it. So one day I got a little bit too close to a plastic container that was burning in a pile of rubbish that had a little bit of an explosion. I coated my face in burning plastic. So when it hardened, it peeled all the skin off my face. So it was, I guess it's like a homemade chemical peel. I only have one small scar left from it, just next to my nose, because that was the deepest part. The rest was just completely peeled off, including my eyebrows. Yes. And I do remember it happened on a Thursday afternoon because I had to go to school on the Friday.
Oh, that's rough.
One does.
Mum was tough.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yes.
My house did not exactly burn down the first year I was at college, but it did. There were workers on the roof. They were working with fire, probably to melt whatever tar they were, paper, or tar paper, or whatever they were using. My dad smelled smoke and traced it to the cedar closet in the upstairs, which was like right outside my bedroom and opposite my parents' bedroom. And my dad never was taught to feel the door first. And so he just went, twisted the knob, pulled the door open, and this exploding fireball hit him in the face.
Oh, no.
So went around with significant burns on his face and hands. And that more than anything else taught me not to mess around with fire. And I'd been kind of a firebug at that point, until that point in my life. So yeah, that I get where you're coming from, and I have all the sympathy for that 14-year-old
Wait,
kid who
John.
had to.
So hang on a second. So you knew, but you never warned Matt.
I was unable to travel forward in time and warn him. So yes, this was a very long time ago. I mean, I would have if I could. I have nothing against warning people not to mess with fire, although it is pretty.
I
And
don't think
I have a
14-year-old me would have listened.
yeah.
I
What
probably
14-year-old does? I mean, fire. Come on, it's this thing. when I was in camp, we used to they used to call us the mud babies. We would dig trenches in the local sewer outlet, and in the water fountain outlet in the barren field that we used to do for softball practice. And some of us always gravitated to that area, trying to find out what we could do to those pipes to get more water out of it. We were just
It
monsters, and
sounds like the
we were
Barrens
9 years
in.
old.
Sounds like, Stephen King's It in the Barrens with all the kids playing in the what is actually sewer water.
The Barrens was cooler than what we had to work with, but much less populous, and so there was a limit to the amount of nonsense we could get up to.
Well, see, I'm the miserable mum of our street because our neighbourhood has a whole bunch of boys here, all in the 12 to 14 range, and I caught them out the back in the forest lighting fires 2 days ago, and I'm like, you need to stop that. We don't need a bushfire, and they're like, you're not much fun at all. So anyway, that's all right. I'll be the mum in the group today. No fires, boys.
Fires.
I think that's
It's important to
Especially-
be a mom. It's important to be. It's important for them to be more scared of you than they are of the fire.
The Greek fisherwife voice came out, so it's all right. Everyone's scared of that when it comes out.
Yeah. So which mountains in Greece?
My family comes from Western Greece, so there's a little town up in the mountains called Ano, which is where my aunties and uncles live. So yeah, Western Greece, down the bottom there. It's a lovely little village though. It's like right on the side. It hangs off the side of a valley, so you're kind of looking right down into the bottom there. It's really lovely.
On my
Go back on a
father's side,
regular
we come
basis?
from Yanina,
Oh,
so the
okay.
Katara Mountains. Yep.
Awesome, beautiful. It's a beautiful country. I'd like to go and visit there again soon, hopefully.
My sister's been. I've never gotten there, but
Oh, you have to. The food is incredible. So much, well, compared to Australian food anyway. I was like, oh, can I just bring this home with me? Thank you. But no, can't quite get the same sort of tomatoes here.
no, it is definitely excellent food. I'm in New York, where you can get every kind of food, and there's a couple of very, very good Greek restaurants here that are quite authentic.
Yep.
I tell people I've been to Australia, I've been to a bunch of places. I tell people I stopped traveling because the entire world showed up in Flushing.
What isn't in
well,
Flushing is at the Queen's Night Market from late June to the end of October, where over 100 different food vendors from all over the borough just show up and hawk their wares. And you can get Ethiopian, you can get Polish, you can get Spanish, and you can get Puerto Rican, and you can
That
get
would be
Tibetan,
dangerous.
all at the same time.
Wow, that
Wowzers.
sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
count us in. We'll just come
Yeah.
over there. to
you guys will
Flushing.
just have to come across.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt,
So-
before we got sidetracked by fire, flames, and everything else, it says that you run ultra marathons. What is an ultra marathon? Because I've done a couple of 5Ks. I did one 24K when I was living in Japan. I was teaching high school, and the school was on a mountain, Fuerte Mountain. So we went up the mountain, we went back down the mountain, 12K up, 12K down. You don't go vertically 12, but you go around the mountain, and that's that. And I was 26, and I was absolutely exhausted when we got down. So I can't imagine trying to do that sort of thing today.
Wait, I know
Yeah.
the answer to this one. It's you run a marathon dressed as Ultraman.
Well,
would
I
be
suppose
cool.
I suppose you could do
That would
that.
be
Yes.
awesome.
Yes, I do. I do have a friend who recently ran a marathon dressed as a fish, wearing a fish costume. He had some. It was near Easter, so I don't know. He had some idea of it. Ultra marathons, any foot race that's longer than a marathon, so longer than 42 kilometers or the mile equivalent. I don't know. But I only really do the shorter ones. So the longer ones go to 100 miles or 200 miles. So I do 50 kilometers. And earlier this year, I did a 100-kilometer one, which took me 9 hours and change. Yeah. You don't run fast. Well, I don't run fast. Some people run fast. I don't. Yeah.
Have
But
you
it's
watched the Simon Pegg film Run, Fat Boy Run?
yes, I have.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That might be kind of where I'm at as far as pace goes. But it's very enjoyable to see. Yeah, they have them in sort of wilderness locations, and you make a weekend of it. You go camping, and you see people that you see at these things, catch up with people, and
Up with
fall
people.
over a lot, and jump over snakes, and um, all that sort of thing.
Very cool. How long have you been doing marathons for, Matt?
15 years or so,
Wow.
off and on. I had a few years where I got tired of it and didn't do it, and then I hit 40 and realized that I needed to do some sort of exercise, so I got back into it. Yeah. But I spend it's also where I do most of my reading now, because I listen to audiobooks. So if you go for a 6-hour run, you can churn through a short novel, which is pretty good. With 3 kids, you don't get much time to sit down and actually read a book.
No.
So I have to run away from the house.
I might have to try that.
So, I understand, Pamela, you've got a background in interior design.
I do, yes. So that was my career straight out of university. So I did lots of fun projects for them. I did a lot of work for the government. I did a lot of work for aged care facilities, which was great because it was, maybe the design wasn't as fun, but it was really good helping people, and knowing that you were creating good spaces and nice spaces for people to spend their time in. My favourite one though was working as an exhibition designer for the Queensland Art Gallery there at Goma, because every time I went upstairs to where the art collection was held, I felt like I was Indiana Jones, because it was like a treasure house. You just walk in, there'd be like a Degas statue just there, or maybe a Picasso vase just there, and I'm like, this is amazing. So that was probably a lot more fun than aged care, but still it was yeah, all good. I like being creative, so that's hence why I'm an author, and I like painting and I like designing. I like doing anything that can be creative, really. Yeah.
Wait a second, you're an author? I think that's something you should have disclosed on your profile when we were talking to you about coming on this.
Sorry, what was that?
You mentioned that you're an author. I figured that's something you should have disclosed in advance to us,
Oh, maybe I should have.
Pamela's
Read the
also an
emails I
amazing.
send you, Chuck.
What was
Pamela's an
that, John?
amazing artist.
I said you
Oh,
have to read the emails I send you.
that sounds like a lot of work, John. I'm not a reader. Uh,
Well, I don't know.
Pamela's an amazing artist. She does all sorts of paintings and drawings, and she designed the cover for my next collection that's coming out next year.
ooh, do
September.
you have any artwork you could show us? We would like to look at that.
I'd have to step away. I can show you one I'm going to enter into a competition if you like.
Oh, that'd be great.
Ooh.
Okay, just
I
give me
tell you
1
what,
second.
how about we'll get Matt to read while you run off and get the artwork?
That sounds like a great plan.
Let's do that. So,
All right, Matthew, start reading.
yeah. Well,
Okay, don't rush, don't run. Shall I read now? Yep.
yeah. So tell us the name of it and read us.
Okay,
To us.
so I was just going to read a scene out of a novella that I have coming out in my upcoming collection of short stories called Drowning in the Dark and Other Stories. And this is the titular story called Drowning in the Dark. And just for a little bit of context, the protagonist's name's Caleb. He's a young boy, and he's just gone back to school after the funeral of his brother. So I made it to recess. I might have made it the whole day, pretending I wasn't thinking about my brother dying and my father's face when he came home and asked where Mikey was, except for Gavin. Callie, Callie, Sally, you killed him, didn't you? I was sitting under the old pepper tree, far enough away from everyone to be alone, hopefully not far enough to instigate a drop-in from a concerned adult. Callie, Callie, Sally. It was better than shrimp. Mikey had never let that one rip when we were at school. He was also the reason I usually only copped the occasional shove, the whispered Sally, a hard stare sometimes, but I was mostly left alone. He'd been a good big brother. The thought hurt, and that deep hole inside me widened a little more. I made a sound, something between a sigh and a low gasp. Maybe Gavin wasn't as large as I remember. Maybe his hair was not so thin, his skin not so pale. What I do remember are the small crinkles he already had at the corners of his eyes, the smile marks of someone who found a lot of joy in his days, someone who made his own joy or took that joy from others with his large soft hands and his even softer words. He stood there, smiling slightly as his lackeys fidgeted behind him. The strange orbit Mikey's death had put me in had already drawn pity from most, but looking at Gavin, I knew it had done nothing but piss him off. Different was different, regardless of why. I would need to be dealt with, and now it would be easy. It was just me. I was all alone. Callie, Callie, Sally, the shrimp, the murderer. I stared at him dully. He was big, and he was cruel, and he was right in front of me. I wondered why I'd ever been afraid of him, why I had cared. He belonged to that other world, a world of rules and expectations. It did not matter that his rules were not those of the adults or of other children. He was part of a world that still had grounding, a world in which I had not killed and been consumed by grief and guilt. I don't know what he saw in my gaze or didn't see, but his face clouded over and his little crinkles lessened. I ignored that and shifted my gaze to his underlings, two boys that often floated after Gavin like pale, uncertain shadows. One of them rubbed their arms. Gav, let's leave him, eh? His brother just died. As if that was a sudden realization and not the reason for the visit. Gavin ignored him, as did I. You killed him, yeah, little Sally? That's what I heard. You and him there all alone? What'd you do? Push him in? Hit him? I heard his head was cracked. It's all alone every afternoon. Mrs. Garibaldi's pitying voice was clear in my mind, but it was my father's face I saw. His face as he asked where Mikey was. His face twisted up as he regarded Mikey's side of the room, and the nothing that smoothed away all emotion as he shifted his gaze to me. My guilt ate at me, burrowed through me, leaving me hollow. I was all alone. There came a sudden stir of anger mixed with my guilt. It was not Gavin I was angry at, but he would do. Fuck you, Gavin, I said. His soft, thick lips turned down in a frown and his eyes narrowed. A pink flush began to creep up his cheeks, and he balled his fists as he opened his mouth again. I knew where this was going. I was Callie, Callie, Sally. I was the shrimp, and I was all alone. My anger turned into something heavier and more solid. Fuck Gavin, fuck Mikey, and fuck my father. Gavin took half a step forward and then a full step back as I launched myself at him, screaming. That's where I might leave it. That's all right.
So good, Matt. I love that. It's a great reading.
Thanks.
So it says, well, okay, you're into the slow burn of, oh dude, oh dude, oh dude, when you present. So I'm thinking that's how your mind sort of works. You keep trying to push the boundaries just a little bit further every time you're trying to make things, go forward in order to keep your reader engaged. What's that? What does that feel like when you're actually? My mind tends to focus ultimately, and the problem is I see everything at the same time. So a
Mhm.
lot of times I have to push myself just to concentrate on that particular moment. What's your process like when you actually put pen to paper?
Um, I do a lot of rewriting because I think I'm the same as you, John. I I want everything all at once. I don't know if this is what you do, but I want to jump to the big scene and the big climax and and then I have to go back and try and put the slow burn in and try and build things up, and it takes me. I must have the most inefficient writing process in the world. I go back and back and back and back. Yeah, but I eventually get there. I don't write very many novella length things. This is one that I quite like, obviously, because it's the name of the collection itself. But it was very hard to actually pick a scene out of it that didn't have too many spoilers in it.
Yeah, I'm very much the drop them into the middle of the argument in the first paragraph kind of writer.
Yes, I enjoy that, and I think I maybe do it too much.
I was in the habit for many years of just creating the scene slash backstory for the first couple of paragraphs. Then I drop the characters into it. And the co-author of my most recent series said, "No, you got to do it the other way around. You start with the character and then you build everything around it." And so now I'm in that particular habit. So yay, I learned more stuff by working with other authors.
So what about you,
Yeah.
Pamela? What's your approach?
For me, I'm a bit more of a perfectionist. I have a bit of a structure that, like a recipe that I like to follow. So yeah, I drop them in the action in the beginning, but I just make sure that I'm setting up things like point of view, setting, and conflict right up front, so to draw the people in. And I kind of really enjoy setting, but that might be something to do with my background in architecture and design. Like I really like that world building kind of situation. And anything that's emotional, as long as it's got an emotional impact to it, that's, I think, is when you're on a winning story. So yeah, that's what I try to do.
Yeah, I
So
always tell
Pam, this
people.
is yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say,
No,
I always tell people I write people, and if they're on a spaceship, it's science fiction, and if they're on a horseback, it's a western. And I
Yeah.
know that's a little trite because there's a lot of other things that, when people see the word western, they expect, and you owe them that. But yeah, for me, it starts with character, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
mind a
that's
good
interesting.
western. Yeah,
Yeah,
character.
because I often have just an image or a scene or something in my head, and so I'll write that down, and then I think, okay, what would be the worst person to put in this situation?
That's kind of a recipe too, isn't it?
I
That's a wonderful
suppose,
question.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't know. I like to draw off. I find the easiest stories to write are the ones that kind of got like personal experience behind them a little bit. And because it's speculative fiction, you can hide that personal experience. You just put it into the fantasy or sci-fi horror sort of world. So I find those ones are the most impactful and the most fun to write as well. Yeah.
Did
I'm
you bring
learning
us some
through doing
artwork?
that you can take just about any kind of a horror situation and drop it into any other genre. So
Yes,
as long as you're
absolutely.
making as long as you're making things worse for your characters and also moving the story along, you have it done.
Yes, totally. I agree.
Yeah.
We want to
So
see the
Pam, you mentioned
artwork.
world build. Oh, sorry.
Uh, uh,
Let's see the artwork. Let's see the artwork.
Okay.
you can talk
That's
world
okay.
building while we see the artwork.
No, I can't. Artwork first.
There we go. Here's my artwork.
Go a bit closer,
A bit closer.
maybe a little bit back.
A little bit back. I don't know. There we go.
It's
That's the
wonderful.
frame.
That
It's a
looks,
watercolor. Yeah.
yeah. It looks vaguely like the tree from the short film Eldritch Karaoke that they showed at the film festival at StokerCon this past June.
Oh, I love that. Well, I haven't. I wasn't at StokerCon, so I promise I didn't steal it.
I'm not suggesting you did.
No, no, that's
I'm just
okay.
saying there's a really creepy tree as a main character in that 3-minute film.
Yeah.
It's just it's suitably haunting, and is bringing out the same kind of woo sort of vibe in me.
Now this
So
this one was
this
written
big
to a theme, Brave New World. So this one has an idea of it being an exoplanet where it's habitable for you know what's the word, where they can go and live, I suppose. Yeah. So that's the idea about
Viable
it.
habitat.
Sorry.
I thought it was very
valuable
sort of
habitat.
fire and rain, sort of,
Yeah, it's kind of got those vibes too. I think you're right. Maybe it's like a volcanic planet or something with, yeah, I don't know, with water. Who knows? I like it.
Well, I like it too.
Thanks, guys. I
Yep.
appreciate that.
Since we've
Looking
got you
forward to
already up
seeing
in
that in the book.
solo mode,
Yes.
shall we get a reading?
Of course, yes. So the story I'm reading a portion of today is called The Verglass Incident. It's a military horror that was written for Contact 3 War is Hell anthology that was published recently by Screaming Banshee Press here in Australia. So I'll just begin. Sea ice shrieks when it's ripped apart, a sound that burrows into a man's spine like razors. But the icebreaker vessel Tartarus is unrelenting. She ploughs deeper into the wild southern oceans, cutting through waves white-capped and treacherous. Alongside her, death looms large. I imagine his fingers on my shoulder, pinched and white, his voice in my ear. You will find the lost, and you will join them. We're here to rescue the crabbing vessel FV Verglass and her crew. Missing for 3 weeks, their families caused a media frenzy to garner public support, but the local authorities refused to help. And why would they? No country owns Antarctica, and illegal fishing outfits pillaging its pristine oceans have no friends. But as paid mercenaries, we'll get the job done. Diego and I gather closer as Dan points to photos scattered across the wheelhouse's table. Satellite images show the vessel caught in sea ice off the Ross Shelf, he says, and there's a blizzard brewing on the radar. We need to get in quick. Dan runs a hand over his close-cropped hair, a style maintained from his days as our platoon leader before he screwed up and saw us all discharged from service. You think they're still alive, Lieutenant? Asks Tim, standing at the ship's controls. Salt and pepper hair, skin like sunburned leather. He was our team sniper and still makes a point to respect old titles. He captains the Tartarus these days, usually for scientific research programs, but agreed to bring us here as a favour. Don't know, says Dan. Probably not. Why the hell are you guys out here? I swallow, wishing I was anywhere but here. If Diego didn't need to clear gambling debts, and if Dan wasn't the only one of us with contacts to make cash, I would never have left Australia. Dan hesitates, glancing out the port window. His thoughts seem 1,000 miles away, maybe trapped in the recollection of a desert where sand is sprayed with gore. I know exactly what that looks like. We all carry the same bit of memory thanks to him. He blinks and his gaze clears, because we know sometimes you make it out alive. Tim looks down and rubs a hand over his stubbled chin. He may have forgiven Dan, but like me, he hasn't forgotten. There is that, I guess, he says. We approach the Verglass slowly, loose-packed sheets of ice giving way to Tartarus's bow. Mount Erebus looms in the far distance, the volcano slumbering as uneasily as it dominates the skyline. Smoke trails like torn lace from its plateau, an ephemeral touch against an already desolate landscape. The Verglass's hull is painted in a brutal scrawl of green. Captured in the ice flow, the vessel leans to starboard, her bow nudged upwards by shelved stacks of ice. The cabin's windows are dark and empty. The onboard hydraulic crane stands iced over, its single-clawed arm pointing like a broken toy towards the graphite sky. 700-pound crab pots are stacked at the rear of the deck. All are stowed neatly except for the one on the launcher, still secured by the dog clamps. Not a good tiding. The crew was experienced. Wouldn't everything be stowed if they were still on board? I've got a bad feeling, mutters Diego, standing with me by the guardrail. His face half hidden in the shadow of his hood is pulled tight against the cold. Having served with him for 10 years, both in the army and out, I know his mind like my own. He's resolute with the mission, but he wants it done. He looks at me, his eyes dark like ink, and I know I've pegged his mood right. Don't start getting all superstitious, I say. This place is creepy enough without that bullshit. Diego points to the stricken ship. I don't need to say anything. You know it for yourself. I glance at the Verglass. Snowflakes caught in an errant breeze stream off her bow. At least tell me you have your good luck with you. Diego reaches into the neck of his jacket and pulls out the old dented dog tags he wears. They aren't his, but ones that bear his father's name, a soldier who died in Vietnam. Jace, bellows Dan from the bow. He stands next to Tim's burly deck boss, Bernard, who is leaning over the side to inspect the water. Yeah, I reply. Bernard is Bernard says the ice here is decaying. Tim can ram a dock. Sure thing. I signal to Tim in the wheelhouse and he nods. The whine of the engine rises and I brace myself as we barrel towards the ice sheet. Even decaying, cutting through it is like splitting concrete. I grunt as I hit the rail and the old scars peppered across my back pinch painfully. The ice screams against the ship's reinforced bow. The Tartarus settles into her temporary mooring. 3 of Tim's crew review the ice flow from the bow. Quiet conversation shifts to action. The men swing over the side, move carefully to drag the shorelines into position to secure the ship. The sky glowers overhead. The low air pressure system settles even lower. We have an hour if we're lucky. I adjust my hood and silently curse myself again for agreeing to come here. You're with me, boys, says Dan as he heads for the ladder. I glare after him, hating how easily he orders me to do anything. Resentment and fear fuel me these days. This wasteland has me on edge. There are plenty of bad ways to die, but something about freezing to death really gets to me. That's it. Thank you.
Very cool.
Nice.
Thank you.
Cool. You actually said cool after that.
Yes, I did. I said what I said.
Thank you. I
Antarctica
appreciate
is a great. Antarctica is a terrific setting because it is truly an alien landscape that human beings absolutely should not be messing
that. I
with.
agree.
I mean, yes, penguins and seals. Oh my! But come on, guys, it's a huge continent with like 13. I don't know what is it, 3 miles of ice on top of it.
I guess there
Not
has
a
to be
bad,
somewhere
very
in the
good place.
world that won't take us,
It
I
does.
suppose.
It
Yes.
does.
I
The fact that it
sat
takes. Yeah.
with my 2 boys and watched the thing last week for the
Ooh,
first time. Um,
nice.
I'm not sure if it was a mistake or not. They might have been a bit too young, but they both enjoyed it. So they said, "We'll see."
One of John Carpenter's best.
Yes,
That's a favorite here. I mean,
yeah.
we're
And your
we're a Carpenter.
story, Pamela, really gives the thing vibes, I think.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that. It's my horror story.
So,
And
what
Pamela,
got you?
you write a bunch of military history. You've got an interest in World War One to
I
that.
do. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that came about from recent family history sort of research. Like my family is very disjointed and like the people from that generation didn't often share a lot of things about what happened during the war, but now the Australian archives have opened up all the military records so you can go in and find out information about your family members. And I found out that so many of them went over there and they were killed in action during World War One, and a lot of them have no known graves. So then
Wow.
I just and being a mother myself, like just the thought of that as a mother having lost children and not knowing where they were left to lie or where they were buried, that really kind of inspires me. So I started collecting World War One postcards of portraits of soldiers, and mainly because I felt sorry that they were like unremembered, like they don't have their names and they're not with their families. So I'm like, you guys come and sit with me. You can be part of my family. But it's kind of good because I research them and then I actually find some of them. I find the names, and if I find the names and there's family, then I can pass the photos back to the family, which is a lovely thing to do as well. Yeah. So
You find
hence
that
my
yeah.
history.
You find
Sorry?
you find that interest informs your writing.
It does. And that's what I was talking about, that emotional impact, like something about war and I guess patriotism and country, and it sort of it for me it sort of transcends, like like for Australia it transcends race, it transcends all of the things that everyone's having such conversations about these days. It's all about I guess unity and people like forging relationships and working alongside each other, which I think is an inspiring message to have in especially in this day and age. So even though it was over 100 years ago now, I think it's something that can cross the ages and hopefully inspire us all. But then again, Australians are always known for Anzac Day. We always kind of get up at dawn at the dawn service to sort of respect the soldiers that have sacrificed for us. So yeah.
Matt, where does your writing come from? You have family history or something that's that
Uh,
you dig into?
me.
Um,
Oh, you.
Me or Pamela?
Matt,
Oh, my family history is it's funny. Pamela says disjointed because mine is so disjointed it's unknown. I probably fall into this category that a lot of Australians with say Scottish and Irish heritage, that sort of thing, do fall into, which is we don't know. Yeah, so I think it was about 1860 or so. That was when birth certificates became required. So you can't, unless you've got people who've been very diligent about it, you can't trace back past there, and I definitely can't. I It just sort of disappears into the ether. Plus, you wind up with, you have your baby boomer parents who are very closed mouthed about these sort of things, and then their parents and who are also closed mouthed. So yeah, I don't, when I do write about family, particularly horror and darker works, it's mostly about unknowns, I think, which is something
I guess
something
it
that I
reflects. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I tend to write a lot of my horror works and darker works kind of from the viewpoint of either children or younger adults who are not as victims but as trying to sort of pass the world and figure out what's happening. And yeah, that's just something that I tend to go back to, but I don't know if that's because of that, unknown family connection or not. It's interesting. It's probably something to think about.
that's an interesting point about documentation because I can trace my ancestry back to I think 1915 when a Julius freighter arrived at Ellis Island from Hungary, and that's it. That's a wall. I can't go any further back than that because literally everyone who knows what happened before that either was born to an empire that doesn't exist anymore or just never told anyone before they passed on. So yeah, there's always that point of no return, and you have to kind of use your imagination to figure out what happened before that.
I struggle with the Greek side. I'm not sure about you, Charles, but everyone in Greek, it's the Greek custom to be named after your grandparents. So it's like everyone on that side of the family has the same name. So I've got like three cousins named Pamela, and I've got who was my grandmother's name, and then I've got Costa. We've got about 1,000 Costas, so and that was my grandfather's name. So everyone's got the same name, so it's really hard to follow.
We've got a lot more range than that. I happen to be named after my grandfather, but not the Greek one.
Ah,
Uh,
okay. Yep.
but yeah, it gets very interesting when you go back through these things. For me, there's actually a lot of diversity in the names there, and most of the last names in the family tree are unusual, so they're pretty findable on the Greek side.
Oh, that's
Uh,
wonderful.
it was very funny. I went to PhilCon. It was the year before the pandemic closed everything down, and I noticed that there was a guy there, Russ Calshimiro, and Calshimiro is a family name, and it's very uncommon. And so I got in touch with him on Facebook, and it turns out we have 1 billion people in common. We both write science fiction. We both write hard. We have just reams and reams and reams of things in common, but we had never run across each other until he was speaking opposite me at PhilCon, so I couldn't even go see his presentation.
Wow.
Wow, that's
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 really
very
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
He also has a podcast. I mean, just on and on and
Oh, well,
on.
there you go. The skills are
It's genetic.
translatable.
Yes, podcasting is genetic.
I
Yes.
love that.
Absolutely.
Well,
The
my
weird.
my grandfather would never talk about his grandfather. It was a verboten sort of topic, and so I did some digging, and all I could find was one police report from 1869 or so, from some of the gold fields here during the gold rush in Australia, of someone being arrested for a whole list of things, whose name matched, but I
Oh.
couldn't confirm with anyone if that was the person that nobody would talk about, and that's where our trail ends.
I think one of my ancestors on the Greek side actually during the Greek War actually murdered a Turk over there, a Turkish officer there who had hurt one of the family, and so he had to change his name. So the name we've got is the name that it was changed to, but I'm not really sure what was prior to that. So I can assure you that trait hasn't come down to me, though. I haven't murdered anybody, I promise.
It actually
Criminals in Australian history.
Oh yeah,
in,
on both
in the
sides maybe. I
westerns
don't
that I
know.
write, I have two Greek characters who had to flee Greece because they were accused of murdering Ali Pasha.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I've
that's
had a lot
very
of
cool.
fun with that. Um, the westerns have been very interesting to write, and because I enjoy the genre, but I also find it a little bland compared to some of the other stuff that I write, and I shouldn't say that out loud. Um, I've tried to sprinkle in some other things to make it interesting. So the little Appalachian town they're in, nobody's a native, nobody's local. Everybody's come there from somewhere else. Most of them are not operating under their original names.
That's
Um,
cool. I like that. I don't mind writing a weird western, and I like the same. I like to genre mash it up a little bit to kind of give it a bit of spice too. I like that idea.
well,
Mm.
I do have a cattywampus in 3 of the books, and I do have somebody who may or may not be a vampire in 2 of the books. And
Nice.
I try to keep these things interesting because they say you write a story you like because you're going to be reading it 75 times because for the edit
Yeah.
process and everything else. Uh,
I think I put Van Helsing into the Wild West for one short story there. Yeah, chasing vampires, Irish vampires across there. Probably your people, Matt, the Irish people.
Could be.
I
Apparently,
don't
your
know
people are Irish
oh,
vampires.
Yeah.
if I had to guess, I would say Matt's closer to werewolf territory than vampire territory, or at least,
He's
yeah,
got Wolverine vibes, right?
yeah. Seriously,
Yeah,
Matt, how tall
totally.
are you?
I'm not very tall.
All right then. So we've got serious possibilities here.
He's like superhero. He just needs the mask. He'll be like Superman. You never know until he takes the glasses off.
Yeah,
It's
well,
really, really
I'd take a
Japanese.
fraction of the money that comes with any of that sort of stuff. That would be fine.
Oh
So,
dear.
what have you guys got coming up next?
For me, I've got a collection coming out this year, probably late October. So it's called This Dark Architect and Other Grim Tales. So another horror collection. So I've been working on that at the moment, and I'm preparing to present at a local writing convention here in Brisbane called GenreCon, which is a writing convention that celebrates all genres. So it's quite a wonderful crowd that gathers there. So that's the rest of my year. It's almost done. Yeah, it's not much time left.
Going
Yeah.
quick. Yes. Yeah. I also have a collection coming out. It'll come out on the 6th of October. It's called Drowning in the Dark and Other Stories, which is part of what the reading was from. That's coming out from IFWG Publishing, which is in Brisbane, but also has distribution in the US and the UK and around the place. So it's on pre-order now. It's available. I'll send you guys the pre-order link if you'd like. So that we'll have a launch for that down in Canberra at a convention that's called Conflux. Yeah, which Pamela will be there as well.
Oh, I will be there. Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of the best ones in Australia to go to each year. So all the best people gather there as well. And have been very lucky to review Matt's collection. It is incredible. So I do highly recommend it to
Thank
anybody
you.
that wants to check it out.
Thank you, Pamela. That's nice.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys for coming out tonight to do this,
My
or
pleasure.
This has been a
today,
total.
or whatever time
Thank
it
you
is
very
over.
much.
And
Our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Yes, it's been
absolutely.
fantastic.
And now we just need our MC to do our outro. Oh, Danny!
And that's our show. If you are horror adjacent in books, comics, film, streaming, and want to be on the Horror Words podcast, email drownedrat@horrorwords.com. Good night.